1938 yearly scholarship fund for nurses is established. And you know, this is a Pittsburgh major hospital, and it's an interesting little museum collectibles here. Here we have a box of colored yarn used as a practical test for color blindness. And I'm speaking through a mask, so that's why it's hard to hear. And here is a bloodletting device. I don't think those were ever helpful. And this is the first ambulance was donated in 1889. And it was a horse-drawn carriage ambulance. It's pretty large, isn't it? So, you know, medicine dates back, you know, like 120 years. Here we go. And we still don't have cures for cancer. We have treatment. You know, people are still suffering. People are still in wheelchairs. People are still in chronic pain. People, you know, are still getting arthritis. And so with all of these advances, it's really not making a big difference. No matter how advanced we become, humanity will always face strife and disease and illness and decay and death. So this is a major Pittsburgh hospital. In the city. I really love the ephemera, the paper ephemera. I really love things like this. I was recently at an estate sale and I found some 1885 grocery receipts and a train receipt from 1904, and a guy was carrying his two dogs on the train. So I was very lucky to purchase a huge stack of ephemera, and I even found an 1800s train ticket. It took me like 2 or 3 hours to go through all the ephemera, and I kind of documented it, and I kept a few things for myself. I even found some cemetery, some kind of a cemetery or funeral home receipt from the 1800s. So I may be showing that to everybody soon because it was kind of cool. But no matter how many nurses, no matter how many technicians, no matter how many surgeons we have, there are always going to be patients in the hospital, sick patients, dying patients, cancer diseased children. There's going to be babies that die as long as humanity keeps reproducing. It's never going to end. And look at this. I'll have to read this later on. Oh my. More than a year ago, a tiny, dark baby whose tortured throat was unable to take food because of the fact that he had swallowed carbolic acid entered the Allegheny General Hospital. Of course, Walter Hubbard, or Pee-wee, inveterate lovers of nicknames, immediately rechristened him, was fed through a rubber tube. This unpleasant means of taking nourishment could hardly be expected to appeal to an adult, let alone a 21-month-old baby. Consequently, Pee-wee looked like an infant dyspepsia advertisement. He was emaciated to almost the extreme limit. 3 months elapsed before he was able to be out of bed. But as he walked around his crib and was fat and sassy, now he trots all over the children's ward and is making a great effort to talk. What year was this? Don't really see a date. Oh, 1930 it seems that this other paper was 1930. Oh boy. So look at all the construction costs and labor from the men that built the hospital. 59 tons of hospital weight. $230,000 for excavation. And all this work put into a hospital that really should never exist for people who should never have existed. And we only hear of Pee-wee's positive outcome. We don't hear about the rest of his life, nor the rest of his struggles and pains and illnesses. But no, I really love certain facts of history and paper ephemera and collectibles like this. I mean, these are, a part of Americana that I really, really like. And I've never even stopped here to read the things from this museum. So they're always, looking for funds in hospitals. Capital campaign to build extra buildings. They're constantly developing cancer wards. I see just cancer wards popping up and, expanded hospitals and increased number of senior living homes. Oh, and there's lots of, medications. If you watch TV, you can't watch a show without being interrupted with the latest medication, usually for, heartburn, arthritis, what else? Anti-inflammatory medications, acid reflux, that's a big one.
Yeah.
And, erectile dysfunction. Now that gets a lot of headlines. Oh, and so does depression. That seems to get a lot of attention, and there's always something new coming out for that. I don't know if it works. Oh, look at that. And this was July 22nd, 1929. Just, a great collection of history, but it's just also very pointless, and this hospital is pointless, and the bodies that come and go in this hospital, it's just pointless, and all the births that took place in this hospital, pointless. And here we go. Technician and doctors with cobalt machine. Electrotherapy, 1954. Cardiopulmonary laboratory, 1952. All of these people were born, they got some sort of education, a lot of nurses. Here we go, World War One. Mass inoculation for the polio vaccine. That's another thing that we can, that I could discuss is vaccines, and the fact that, many people died because of, diseases, and we're still combating diseases. And so it's never going to end as long as people keep reproducing. Gonna always need vaccines and hospital beds and coffins. Oh boy, Officer Ober, ambulance driver, helped to deliver twins, February 20th, 1950. Well, that's pretty sad. Certainly a multiple birth is sadder than a single birth, right? No baby, no coffin needed. No baby, no burial. A lot of documentation of nurses and women's involvement in healthcare. But it's also very pointless, because even though they're in training when they're, in their late teens or 20s, 30s, they are also going to be the recipients of medication and surgery, and they're going to be invalids one day. Some instruments for cardiac patients. I mean, we've advanced quite a bit with cardiac issues, and we have heart transplants, but we still don't have cures for things. And there's 7.6 billion people in the world. And with all of those minds and brain power, we are not progressing very fast. And there's a candy striper. That's what they used to call it. In fact, I did some candy striper volunteer work, and I think I had some kind of like vest like this color. Yeah, I thought maybe initially I might be a nurse, but that really faded quickly. I had no interest. And there she is, showing the newborn, showing the infant, as if that's something to be grateful or proud to show. Birth should be mourned, and death should be celebrated. Life Flight, 1978. Oh, this is the year I was born, 1961. I really like the style of the 60s, 50s and 60s. I love the hat on the women, and I love the hats on the men too. I love that. In fact, I recently found a vintage hat in its original box, man's hat, but it looks really cool on me, and fedora with a wide band. Here's a kidney transplant in 1986. Oh, anyway, it's just all so pointless and useless. And this is going to keep, going on as long as people keep reproducing. Helmets, here we go. Yeah, helmets do save lives. However, with all of the safety measures, helmets and seat belts, you can still become paralyzed. You can still die in major accidents. There was in a Canadian, I believe it was Toronto, there was a Canadian family. It was a mom and 2 or 3 of her daughters, and there was a police chase, and the police chased a man, some kind of criminal or something, and he ran into the family, and the whole entire car, SUV, was slammed into a telephone pole, and all the daughters and the mother died. And this made, major headlines, and there was a collection, GoFundMe page started. I think it raised like $500,000. I don't know why the death of children and a mom would have raised so much money. I mean, I get the sympathy, but raising money, that's it might even be a cost-saving venture to, lose family members in one fell sweep. But it's just so extremely pointless. this hospital is pointless. You know, all the people who work here are just pointless. Their education, I mean, all it is serving one, you know, couple of generations, and then they're going to be sickly and invalid, and they're going to need help. And every generation is just recycling the next generation, and every generation is, you know, just sticking around until they need help from future generations. It's just pointless, just extremely pointless. It's infuriating because I can't change people's thought patterns, or people's religion, and people's convictions, and I can't change their cognitive dissonance, but I did change my own perspective, and I am child-free, and I am an outspoken and unapologetic anti-natalist. I will never bring a child into the world into harm, and that is my legacy. I don't have a child or children to leave money or belongings to, and I don't leave any harm in the wake of my life. My lineage ends with me. My family name ends with me. Hear that, Mom and Dad?